Hello there, everyone. TheAndrata here, and welcome back to episode 23 of our FTB Skies Let's Play series, where, if you can't tell by the beautiful glowing armor that I am wearing, we got our enchants set up. Let's talk about it. Welcome back, my friends, to another wonderful night here in the world of TheAndrata, where today, well, based on our sugarcane timing clock here, it keeps going. It keeps going. It keeps going. It keeps going. Goodness gracious, I didn't even realize how tall that went. Well, based on that, you can kind of tell that I have been AFK for a while, right? It's been a while. Let's look at this rain. Look, it's still trying to break all of the sugarcane. It is a ridiculous amount of time that I was AFK. Specifically, if we take a look at this, we have 60 hours of time in here, which honestly isn't even accurate to how much time that we ended up with AFKing because, well, we'll talk about what happened. Okay, so, and I didn't forget this time. Usually that only happens when I forget that I was running the game and everything, and then I leave it for a few days and things end up happening. So if you remember last episode, we left off and I was wanting to get enchanting done, right? I was over here and I was wanting to enchant everything and things just, I mean, it was working okay for us, but it wasn't working fantastically, right? Because of, well, essence. And if you kind of take a look at this, you can kind of sort of see where we're going with things. I AFK'd for a little while to try and build up our essence. And by a little while, oh my goodness, look at all the bees on my map. It was a while. Okay. I AFK'd for, I think it was about 2.5 days total that I ended up actually AFKing. So 48 plus hours that it was AFK for, to build up our essence. And not only did we build up our essence, we ended up building up our meat, our liquid meat, and our pink slime as well. A couple things that I want to point out here. We have 2K essence, and the essence we actually ended up with more essence. If we go take a look at our experience obelisk, we currently have 50 levels, and that's after all of the enchanting that I did. Because if we take a look at my inventory, I have everything that I wanted enchanted. We'll talk about how I enchanted these things. The enchantment applicator is very great for getting most of these enchants done for fairly cheap. Except for the sword. The sword was the worst part because the sword has a lot on it. I don't even want to show you what I put on the sword yet because we'll talk about all of the different things. You know I have teleportation, that's that. But my sword, I went ahead and enchanted. It cost a lot of levels. Let's just say it was over 100 some odd levels. TheAndrata, how did you get over 100 levels? You cheater. It was actually fairly simple once I thought about it. So let's pop over to our mob farm. If we come over to our mob farm, we take a look in here. First things first, this is no longer... No, it is running. Is it running? I wonder if it's running. We're backstuffed on everything, so I actually don't know if this is running or not. No, it ran. Okay. First things first, I set up a dropper on the backside there with a redstone clock from Cyclic. The dropper has a bucket of water inside of it. And the redstone clock from Psychic is set to run every 20 ticks. It is a 20 tick pulse every 200 ticks, and it's a full power pulse. So all it does is every 200 ticks, it puts that bucket of water out and then pulls the bucket of water in. And that's just to make sure that the grass stays empty. There are other ways that we could do it, but that was a simple way that I knew to work with. The only thing I would like would be to be able to increase that pulse for longer. The problem with increasing it for longer, the delay, is that it also increases how long the water is out. You know, I tried with an RF tools timer. If we take a look at timer, I made an RF tools timer, which actually we're going to experiment here with in a minute. And I set it to a longer delay, but then the water was just out for longer, and that means that mobs didn't spawn. So I felt like this worked. It cleans the grass enough. I did go ahead and set up an absorption hopper that is from Mob Grinding Utilities. Not terribly too expensive to make. And they're great. It's a vacuum. It sucks up items that are in its range. So I set its range to be this entire cube that we have there. So anything that gets dropped or inside of there will get picked up and then piped into an ender chest that we got going on here. So that any of the seeds and stuff that end up coming from this water get put into there. On the flip side of things, we have our mob farm, standard mob farm that we had going on. Nothing really changed about this. Where things changed was the fact that I realized that this can be tick accelerated. Okay, I don't remember if we talked about it being able to be tick accelerated in the last episode, but it can. And where that comes in handy is when you want experience. Well, all you have to do is tick accelerate a block and then have your nice sword and then just thwack everything because it's chunk loaded. If a creeper does happen to explode, the chunk is protected, so nothing happens. But look at my experience. I just sit here and I thwacky these guys and we end up pretty good, right? Until the time in a bottle or the temporal pouch expires. And we don't really take much damage. Now, normally I would turn this off. It's killing the mobs along with me, but like even fighting that for mob kills, I'm ending up with almost 30 levels of experience by the time that wore off. You do that for a little while, and you're pretty golden, right? You don't have to worry about it too much. On top of that, when you kill things with yourself, you get different loot. Specifically, those hearts, right? We end up getting more hearts when we kill them with regular loot versus when we kill them with this guy. We don't get the hearts when killing them with that. We could probably solve that by getting ourselves a, what is that called? A pedestal with a sword that has looting on there because that acts as a player killing them. But for now, doesn't make a difference. So we have 2 red hearts. We also have a yellow heart that I got at some point. The yellow hearts, those can be crafted, correct? If we melt a yellow heart. Yeah, which is 8 or 9 melted red hearts makes 1 melted yellow heart. So with that, we have to get 8 of those. So you need a total of 72 red hearts to make a yellow heart. And then you need yellow hearts to make the yellow heart canisters. Okay. I don't know what the yellow heart canisters, what the difference is between them though. But as you can see inside of here, which honestly teleportation kind of is a not very great when we have to open up our vitality blade here, but we have 7 red heart canisters inside of here. And it gives us extra damage. So anyway, I did that. And by doing that, I got experience. We ended up with an apotheosis gem. I ended up with experience to be able to enchant. Not only that, I had my essence. So if we pop back home here. Oh, before we pop back home, I did want to experiment. I don't like the weather here. Unpronounceable in my comments on last episode mentioned that dreadful dirt can be cheesed. If you take a RF Tools timer and you place it on, nope, we need it to be pointing at it. So let's go ahead and grab any sort of block that I can place this on top of. Bam. We'll want to rotate it. Atomic disassembler, can you... Oh, I'm sorry, morphing tool. Can you switch to something that can rotate this? There we go. Okay, so we got that going. Great. Rotate back to normal tool. We can leave that cobblestone. It'll float, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, actually, we'll get rid of it. If we get a timer in here and we pulse this, so we set it to operate extremely quickly, it's supposed to spawn mobs very fast. Maybe the timer's not the block that we would want to use. Let's get another redstone clock from Cyclic and see if that, because that pushes out power. The timer does as well, but I guess I don't have repeaters taught to the system. Interesting. A redstone clock. Honestly, this is vanilla-y stuff, so when it comes to redstone, if you've been watching TheAndrata for a while, TheAndrata's not the greatest with redstone. Okay, so let's set this to have a delay of nothing. Like, let's bring that delay down. Always on, and a 60-second or a 60-tick duration. Does that make them spawn like buku crazy? I mean, I guess it does seem to be spawning more often on that block. Honestly, I can't tell because they're getting killed so fast. It does seem to be spawning more often on that block, though. Let's set the duration. What if we just have it like 1-1? Just be blasting that block with a super fast pulse. I mean, it does seem to be spawning more often. I will say that, like more so than any of the other blocks, that block is spawning more often. It doesn't, I mean, it's not super ridiculously fast. They probably could tweak this somehow and change, like what about that? That seems to be a pretty, and maybe, yeah, the duration is, you know what? Let's set the duration to 1 tick. 20 ticks is 1 second. So it'll stay on. So every second it's pulsing. We're not getting a spawn every second, but every second it is pulsing. So, is what it is. It does seem to be a little faster though, so we'll take it. Not that I really need it at this point. We kind of have the essence that we need and everything, but yeah. Anyway, okay, so with that being said, I was able to enchant all of my stuff. So what I did was we had this set up last episode with all of the different types of enchants that I wanted to put on there. Yeah, we nixed that. Because I had so much essence available to me, what I did was set up a loot or a essence loop here. Okay, on the back of each of these we have a exporter exporting essence with a stack upgrade in them, and if we go in here we can see how I have things set up. So the enchantment factory is where things start. You put a golden tool because gold tools get more enchants more often, right? This actually already has an enchant on there, so it's not gonna work. But golden tools have a higher chance of getting more enchants put on them. I am correct in that statement, right? Gold tools are higher enchantability. So what we have, put the item in here, it outputs over here. And my output is set to push it to the left, okay? Pushes it over to the left into the enchantment extractor, which will make it pop up into the input slot. Once it ends up into the input slot, on the back of this guy, I have books being exported into this. It will pop up into here, and it will extract the enchants. Boom, boom, boom. We can actually, no, we can set it to go. It'll extract that looting. It won't extract the looting? Why are you acting like there's something in your inventory? It won't let me put the sword in here. It's acting like the sword has no enchants. That does say looting 2 on it, though. But it also isn't like golden, so that's weird that it says looting 2, even though it's not like an enchanted item. Oh, you saw. There's a lot of stuff on there. We'll talk about it. Anyway, because there's a lot of stuff on my sword because this is what I did. Anyway, so item comes in here. Enchants come here, which get pushed out to the left, which are going to come up into this obsidian chest, which you can see there's a lot of enchants in there. I did have to set up a pipe because it started to get funky and it would not extract the enchanted books after a while. I don't know what that one was about. So I just set up a pipe to pull and then everything worked hunky-dory. Then our enchantless item then gets pushed back over to here, which our input is set to pull from the left, and it's pushing and pulling everything. And we have a loop. So if we put this in here and we turn this on, it's going to go into there. It's going to get enchanted. It's going to come over here. It's going to pull off Soulbound and Soul Reaper 3. That's going to pop over there, which gets pushed over to here, which then gets enchanted. And then bada bing, bada boom, this cycle runs until I decide that I don't want it to run anymore. And we end up with a bunch of enchants. Like right there, you just saw we had Sharpness 5, Bane of Arthropods. We had Everlasting. You get a lot of enchants this way, okay? Level 30 enchants, because that's what the enchantment factory is able to do, is level 30 enchants. So everything comes out of there, boom, bada bing, bada boom, and you end up with a nice big chest full of enchants because you can run through armors, you can run through like helmets, you can run through chest pieces, legs, boots, and you run everything through and you end up getting a bunch of different enchants, which is great because that's what I did. So if we take a look at our armor and such, on our helmets, we ended up with night vision. We had night vision. Sorry, we didn't end up with it. We already had night vision. But we ended with Soulbound. I put Soulbound onto everything. That way, if we ever die, we have our armor available to us. Air Affinity, which allows me to, when I am flying, I can break blocks without losing no penalty for being in the air or swimming, things like that. Though I have air affinity, not aqua affinity, but there's no water that I'm swimming through. We have block reach, increases my building and mining reach. Oh my gosh, we got to talk about my block reach because it's actually quite insane because I have block reach stacked on multiple different items. It is absolutely ridiculous. We got block reach. We got projectile protection 5, insight 8. Insight is a fantastic enchant. Increases your experience gain. So when you have that equipped, you get more experience when you pick up experience orbs. More levels. And then unbreaking on there just because why not? Chestplate, Soulbound, Fire Protection 9, Space Fireproof, which we got from one of those exploration mods or exploration blocks. Exploration enchanted items. That's what I was trying to say. Unbreaking, and then I got Reach. Reach 4 increases distance that I can interact with blocks. Netherite leggings, Soulbound, Protection 6, Steady Body, stops me from getting knocked back. Unbreaking, Thorns, because why not? And then Gloom I ended up with by enchanting. I think it was leggings that I ended up with. It's from Cyclic. Chance to apply negative status effects to an enemy when hit. It does not stack if you have more than one Gloom, but it causes them to get negative status effects. What that means, like, can that be Wither? Can that be Slow? Can that be Blind? I don't know. And then our boots, Protection 6, Feather Falling, so I no longer take damage if I accidentally turn my engine off here. So if I fly up and I turn off my hover and I hit the ground, minimal damage at least. Not as bad as it was before. Still a little bit, but not as bad. And then Unbreaking 4. Okay, that's armor. That's all good and dandy. There are other enchants we could put on our armor, but I think this is pretty darn decent for where we're at. Mending may be the only other thing that I would want on here because I have, durability and everything. But again, with Cyclic, we can get the like diamond anvil and repair our armor using RF. It's pretty simple to make too. So like, not too big of a deal. Where things got insane was when I enchanted my sword. Because if you remember last episode we left off, I had to enchant my sword. And I had like looting and scavenger and all that stuff. Well, I got all of that stuff. But as you saw, I cycled through my sword. And I ended up getting a few more things that I am quite happy with. So let's take a look at the sword because it is cracked. Remember, it's also a vitality sword. So I can access the, increase my damage. So let's look at the sword. Sword is cracked. Soulbound, so we'll always get it back. Sharpness, 8, increases the damage. I just combined sharpness books in the anvil. You can stack them. You get a 4 and a 4, that makes a 5. You get a 5 and a 5, that makes a 6. Ended up with sharpness 8. Looting 6, we ended up with scavenger 3, experience boost 5, Vorpal 6, Sweeping Edge 4, Disarming 5, Leech 6, Soul Reaper 3. I don't even know what that does, but I got it. I put it on there. Why not? Capturing 3, so we can get spawn eggs when we kill mobs. Smite 7, I figured, we might as well put some sort of, it's either Bane of Arthropods, the Illager one, or Smite. So, hey, why not? Let's put Smite and Teleportation. And as you can look down there, you can see that my attack damage is 27. The attack damage being high is partially due to the red heart canisters, but it's also got to deal with the sharpness. So 27 attack damage is pretty darn insane. That's pretty high. And like I said, it costs something like 200 levels or something to be able to apply this book on top of the levels that it required for me to put into the in getting the books from one level to another and everything like that. And our anvil went through like 3 anvils and everything. But we killed a lot of things. Like our quests over here. Like I said, I just tick accelerated and I stood there. And so we have a lot of these quests like almost getting maxed out and everything because I just literally spam clicked and killed a bunch of mobs, and it worked pretty well. So we got a pretty good sword. We got pretty decent armor. I'm not complaining about it all. And we're chilling. We go with levels. I mean, we got room for more enchants if we need to, and like all of that stuff. So I think we're good. I also went ahead. I got tired of leveling or putting on the what's that called? Going out there and killing things. So I got an XP tap from mob grinding utilities. It takes any sort of block that you have that has experience, and it turns it into a faucet for you to get the experience out. Turns it into regular experience. So you can just turn that on. It is tick acceleratable, so you can get ridiculous amounts of experience if you tick accelerate that, and you can get experience extremely fast if you have some essence like I do here. So yeah, pretty good. I think we're going to be pretty chilling over here. And like I said, the enchantment applicator is great because it allowed me to put most of the enchants on my armors. I put the armor piece in, and then I put Soulbound in there, and that only used like 2 to 4 buckets of essence because it uses the levels that would use to do the enchants. So Soulbound does not cost very much to put on there. So it was pretty darn good. all that being said, we've got some pretty dang good armor. I am satisfied with my care here. I am ready to move on to other things. Our next major goal in Industrial Foregoing was to get ourselves a wither milking farm and kill the wither. I do want to do that, but I kind of want to hold off for just a little bit. First things first, I need to, and actually I'm going to put it on my to-do list by picking one up. I want to get a bow of some sort. It's always good to have a bow, and I would want it to sit in this slot where my ender pouch is right now. Oh, by the way, I made a wireless fluid grid. I was AFKing over by my mob farm, so I wanted to be able to keep track and see how much stuff we ended up with to see if we ended up hitting the 2K mark on all of those, because that's what my goal was when I was AFKing, to just let everything max out. So we ended up with a fluid grid. Not anything too big of a deal or anything like that with that. Crafting it's pretty simple. Just required a fluid grid and then all the other things that are needed. But anyway, I want to get a bow. I don't know what kind of bow I want to go with. I'm looking at, what are the different kinds that requires soul crystals to shoot. That doesn't sound cool. Redstone arsenal requires flux to fire, which kind of sounds interesting. So you don't need arrows, so you wouldn't need infinity. You just need power. And you can get a flux-infused bow or a crossbow. Is it enchantable? It is enchantable. And it looks like, it has all of the standard enchants that a bow can get. Maybe we'll go that route. I've never used that before. Force bow from Forcecraft. We've got a rainbow cannon from Cyclic. Don't know what that is. That sounds interesting. Britannia, of course. Ars Nouveau does have the enchanter's bow where you can enchant it with everything, and you can put spells onto your arrows and everything, which is cool. It's probably going to be something I would want to do in another mod pack, though. Something that's going to be more magic focused and everything, because my focus right now, this playthrough has been on tech and everything, and I think that's where we're sticking. So yeah, I think a flux infused bow. I've always wanted to use a crossbow, but crossbows can't use all of the bow enchants, which is kind of a bummer. Like you can't get like quick draw, and you can't get multi shot, and you can't get all that stuff, which is always very nice when you have a bow. So yeah, bow on the to-do list. We will flux infused ingot. Seems pretty simple to make. Flux infused obsidian rod, flux infused gem. Yeah, I mean, like, this is not. We need 2 of these. I don't have any more fire charges. What? Are you kidding? How else can we make this? This stuff. Smelteroony this, please, for me really quick. Thank you. Okay, so now we have that. And then what are you going to require? 2 of these. And then I need 1 of these. Okay, now we got a flux infused bow. Well, almost. It looks like it comes from thermal, but this is also redstone arsenal, not thermal. So flux infused bow. Do you still need an arrow? Empowered. Quelled. Empowered. Like, I'm holding right click and it ain't working. I would think that this would stop me from needing arrows. Like, it's going to shoot with flux. Nope, I still need an arrow. Now, does it use, and it does utilize the arrow. I wonder what this quelled versus empowered means. I'm going to assume it uses more power. I also need to change the hotkey because I can't have this on. There we go. Now my engine is on. Now these are at least toggled together. Okay, so now this is quelled, but it does use my arrows. Can you get infinity on you? You would think, yeah, I guess I can get infinity. All right, well, never mind then. I thought I was going to get this and it would make it so that I didn't have to carry an arrow with me and all of that good stuff. But no, I still need to do the whole arrow thing. What I do want to do, we need to get the an enchantment library set up and everything from Apotheosis, so I can get all of these enchants stored in there. But that requires me to get higher level infused shelves and everything. I just haven't figured that all out. But let's go ahead and add it to my to-do list. Because the enchantment library is nice, you can put your books in there and then it'll combine them and then you can pull them out automatically, which would have been very handy when I was like setting up my sharpness 8 and things like that. And you can get up to max level 16 enchants in there, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Anyway, so we got the flux infused bow. I will go ahead. I'm going to grab a bow and then we'll set this to like run through the enchantment factory so I can get some bow enchants and everything, which will be nice. And hopefully we end up getting infinity and things like that. So that way we can have ourselves a nice, fast, quick beautiful bow. That being said, what I wanted to work on today, we got about 6 minutes left though, so we'll probably just wrap up the episode here. This is an update of what happened in between episodes. I want to work on getting ourselves hostile neural networks going. Start fabricating some of this loot that we can get. We get these data models, and now that we have the ability to kill mobs fairly easily, I want to get some of these mobs set up. Like zombies and endermen, like we're getting ender pearls. We have 81,000 ender pearls. I'm not concerned, or 8,000 ender pearls. I'm not concerned about that. But some of the mobs that we don't get spawning very often, I would like. Oh, mimics are cool. Like I would like to get blaze. We don't have any way to get blaze rods at the moment. Passive mobs, I would like to maybe get those too, like chickens and cows going, so we can get some like leather and we can get some feathers and things like that. Maybe like slimes are kind of a pain. We're not really getting any. Oh, I guess we have 3,000 slime balls. I guess I don't need slimes. I know those are spawning. A wither like that. A wither would be cool. I imagine that's going to use a bunch of power. It does make nether stars. I bet you that's going to be ridiculously, 2,560 RF per tick. Granted, we're making 17,000, so we could easily do that. Ender dragon is also a possibility. Granted, we have to kill 6 of them to get a data model going, right? It's 6 of them. But anyway, yes, like some of these mobs that we're not getting a ton of, that we can get some of the drops that would be handy, would be nice. So I'd like to get hostile neural networks set up. Let's go ahead and get it started at least. And then maybe, no, I won't do it in between episodes. So we can at least get the blocks made. So at least we got some progress done this episode on things, right? That sound like a plan? Okay, so for hostile neural networks, there are 2 main blocks that you want. You want a simulation chamber, which simulates a player killing these mobs, which levels up your data models. And then you want a loot fabricator, because the loot fabricator is what makes the loot. So we want at least these. We're going to want multiple of them, because we're going to want to simulate killing the mobs to generate the loot. And then the loot fabricator is where we're going to get all of these. We're going to put these pieces, and it makes the loot for us. So we need a simulation chamber. We need a loot fabricator. We're also going to need prediction matrices. These are required for us to be able to do any of the crafting or any of the looting. We're going to need a deep learner, because we're going to need to teach ourselves how to, make some of these mobs and everything like that. I don't think I need to do that. I can just make this. Apparently, I don't know how to make redstone repeaters. Yeah, we ran into that last episode, or not last episode, a few minutes ago, didn't we? Okay, that can go in there. And we can go deep learner and request that now. And this will allow us to level up our models by manually killing the enemies. So if we open up this inventory, we can put a model inside of here, up to 4 of them. So like, for example, if I go look at the models I have a zombie model and I have an enderman model. The zombie model I've killed 0, and the enderman I have killed 0. So we have to go kill them, and those will level up, and then they will turn into usable models for us. Currently have no use for them. We need to level them up at least initially. We're going to need that. Okay. Now the deep learner does have a slot in our curios. So we can go for the deep learner slot if I can find it. Right there. Bam. Okay. Don't need to see it. I don't know if it's rendering, but we don't need to see it. Oh, look, and you get a nice handy tooltip in the corner of how many more you have to kill. I like that. Prediction matrices will teach. Loot fabricators we're going to teach, because we're going to want more than one of those at some point. So that's that. And a simulation chamber. Yeah, pretty easy craft on all of these, actually. Nothing too ridiculously crazy. We'll get ourselves a simulation chamber. And we'll get ourselves a loot fabricator. We are also going to need from hostile neural networks, we're going to need the models, right? We're going to need model frameworks, these things. That way we can actually get more models from the mobs that we're going to want to, fabricate loot on. So we got that going, get ourselves model frameworks, and bada bing, bada boom, we can make new models and we can simulate mobs. Okay, pretty simple. With that, though, we will dive into it next episode, and we'll start getting that set up. We do have a quest line for this, here in mob farming, where we can get the different stuff and the things and get loot and all kinds of stuff. Bind your model framework to mob over time. Tier data increases. Add some prediction matrices. Depending on your model, you have a chance. We'll talk about all of this. And yeah, cool. All right. Anyway, That's it for today's episode. If you enjoyed, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Sorry that it wasn't like super engaging or like a whole bunch of stuff going on, but man, all these enchants were pretty awesome. I'm excited for it. And we're pretty, I'm not going to say we're like super OP, but we're pretty darn OP, especially this sword. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I didn't mention it. I made the heart amulet too. I didn't put anything in it, but I have the heart amulet so that we can do things with hearts. Gets us more hearts, I think. I don't know. That's what I assume. Whatever. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate it. It really does help out the channel. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.